Hello and welcome to Star Campus. The topic of today's webinar is Get on board and let's get going. How can I easily switch to Transit? Thank you for joining today. My name is Elke Fuchs and I work for the training and support team at Star Language Technologies and Solutions. This is a subsidiary of the Star Group. This webinar shall explain how you can extract translation memories from existing translations and how you can carry out projects that do not originate in Transit. On the agenda today, what is alignment? Then, how do I process alignment? How do I create reference material from a TMX file? How do I exchange XLIF projects and packages from other translation memories? And at this point, I have to apologize for the spelling mistakes on the agenda. This shows that you always should go over things twice. Okay, let's start. We start with alignment. Alignment is done or necessary if you have, for example, translations done in the original format. As you can see here, we have two Word files. One is in English and the other one is the translation into German. And in order to be able to use this translation in Transit as reference material, we need to do an alignment. This means for Transit that we need a language pair from these two files. To create a language pair, from these two files, we do an alignment project. There is also an import done, and from the English file, we will receive the English part of the language pair, and from the German file, we will get the German part of the language pair. Let's start Transit now and let's have a closer look. And specialist for today because we want to have the best working environment, meaning all the windows and need for alignment and the language pair and the functionality necessary. Here, the project selection dialog has come up and we open the last project which was opened. This is the alignment project. I just go to OK. Here you see the working environment. The windows down here are just defined as floating so that we have all the space in the center for the language pair. An alignment project is basically the same as any regular translation project. It only has two differences. Let's have a look at the settings here. We have card files, but it looks different. Here we add all the files for the English, for German in this case, since we have as source English and as target language German. And the other one is here, file assignment. We have to determine which source file goes with which target file. We have to tell Transit. In this case, of course, I have named them accordingly, that can be pointed out very easily. But sometimes you have more than one file, for example, and maybe it's not that obvious. And then you just do the assignment to make sure that the content of the files fits. The rest is the same as in any other regular translation project. I click on OK. And for all, like for any other translation project, we need to do an import. Just start the import. I have done this before. I let override all the language pairs. OK, and close. Now, opened like this. For all those of you who know Transit, you can see that there is the gray bar in the middle. This is reserved for the alignment. Alignment can be found here in the ribbon, in the tab Alignment. Now, we have to make sure that the now segmented files, that they fit together, that they match, that the segment of the source fits with the translation in the target. Okay. Cuisine, Schweizer Küche. This is perfect. But we can let Transit help us with the so-called alignment mode. Transit compares source with target, does just a probability calculation in order to point out spots where there might be a manual interference necessary. And the more unlikely it fits, the darker the red color. As you can see, we only have to concentrate on spots like this. And we see, okay, up to here, it's perfect. The bars in the middle show which segment is from the source is aligned to which segment in the target. And when we mark here, we can say, yes, we confirm the proposal Transit has done. And as soon we confirm, all the color disappears. And this shows us, okay, so far we are doing good. I just go a little bit further down that you can see it better. We have the situation that we have here an additional segment in between. Transit tells us that this segment should be deleted. Since Transit can only do a calculation of, for example, this might fit to this one, just because of the length of the text, for example, and that Transit notices, here between there is no such segment, Transit can suggest to delete this. And when we confirm, for example, to cursor, Transit will delete the segment, and this looks good. Can go further down. The next situation, Transit is telling us something. Here, Transit shows us we have two segments in the source, but the translation is in one segment in the target. And Transit suggests, let's join the two source segments so that the content is in one segment exactly as it is in the target. Yes, we can confirm here. This and confirm. When we use this as reference material later on, Transit knows that these two segments need to go together for this translation. We can go further down. Don't have to go like segment by segment by segment. We can also let Transit help us. Go forward using here the navigation. As a default, we have here the probability is 65%. So when we go to the next proposal, which has a probability of 65% through the file. This looks good. This looks good. Okay. Come down here. Fabulous cuisine. Guten Appetit auf German. And Bon Appetit ist willkommen in unserer leckeren und reichhaltigen Küche. So we see that in the translation, these two sentences have just been switched. So what we can do is we press Control and do a right mouse click and just push this here. And off we go. And we do fine. So Transit helps us to calculate the alignment probability. We don't have to do it segment by segment. And now when we're at the end of our file, we can just say, yes, we confirm through the proposal, and it looks good. More options up here. On purpose, I did not use them, just because I want to make sure that you use them carefully. Let Transit help you as much as Transit can help you. And if you are, and if the translation does not fit to the source, do rather delete the complete segment than fumbling around and splitting and joining and things like that. You can do that. But always keep in mind that maybe you will have this sentence translated faster than aligned. Then, if you have repetition in your text, let's say you have this type of translation 3 or 4 times, don't bother to align all 4 files. Since it has lots of repetition, you only need one time, one segment for the use of reference material. And that's about it, about the alignment. All the segments here have now the status alignment checked, as you can see down here. If you use this reference material, please keep in mind that all the segments have this segment status. So far to alignment. And the next topic will be TMX files. When you receive reference material from other memory systems, mostly this is by TMX. So let me just close here that we have a free screen. So like this. The TMX has been introduced to our translation world exactly for that reason, that there are more than one memory on the market, and there is more than one memory used. And each memory produces reference material, and we had to make sure that you can exchange memories or reference material amongst different memories. And that's why we have a TMX format introduced, which is exactly for this purpose. Show you how Transit helps you to convert a TMX file into a language pair, which is necessary for reference material in Transit. Down here in the resource bar, and there is the TMX interface, and you see it's grayed out. So we still have the user role alignment specialist. So as soon as we another user role, for example, the super user, we will have it available here. This also determine the functionality which is available. Yeah, please keep this in mind. Okay, we have here import TMX. So I just open up here this dialog, which is a quite simple dialog, and I click here to select the TMX file. As you can see, Transit points directly to the TMX file I want to convert into language pairs. That Transit is pointing exactly to this folder due to the fact that I have predefined this folder. I will show you later on. First, let's do the TMX import. Okay, I select the file and click on Open. And now I need to give a name to the resulting language pair. Here on the three buttons, on the three full stops, better said, and Transit points now to the working folder of the currently opened project. This is also something I have predefined. Where we predefine this, I will show you quite in a minute. So I just give a name here. New. And I give it an extension. I type in here txt as a placeholder. In a TMX file, there can be various languages in there, at least two, source and target. And sometimes you just cannot tell just by looking at the TMX file what kind of languages are stored in this file. So you just give the txt as an extension, which serves as placeholder. So I click on Save. The import. This is done rather quickly since it's a small TMX file. And I can close this dialog. And if I want to have a brief look here, since I have it in somewhere, and since it is a language pair, I just can open it. Here we go. We find the source part of my material. Of course, you can also store it in a folder. You can also just predefine a folder. So let me show you where you can do this. This is done in the user preferences here. Open them. And down here we have the option of the folder selection. And here you see a whole large list of functionalities where we can have a predefined folder. For now, this we will have a closer look at. Select TMX file, pointed user-defined folder, and I just called the folder TMX Exchange. As when we did the import, I have predefined that the language pairs are stored in the working folder of the currently opened project. And this is why this is shown here at the moment. If you want to change this, if you want to store the reference material separately, just select user-defined folder and go ahead, select a folder you have predefined. And of course, if you want to create from a language pair a TMX file, here would be the possibility of defining your folder as you want to. That is about it, about TMX. It's interesting to know. It's very easy to get reference material on this way. Topic will be how we can unpack translation projects which do not origin in transit. There we can have two kinds. It's for one or SDL PPX files. The unpacking of those kinds of projects is done in the same way as you would unpack a PPF, which is a transit translation package. Please do not confuse XLIF and TMX. TMX is exclusively reserved for the exchange of reference material, nothing else. And XLIF or SDL PPX files, packages, these are translation projects packed for being translated. We unpack an XLIF file. Unpack. Transit prompts me to a folder, which I have predefined, of course. And here I see a PPF file. It's a transit package. This is the case because down here, unpack project here. And what we need is unpack XLIF project. Okay. As soon as we select this here, it is shown here. Okay. So translation order is the name of the XLIF file and we open it. And now the same steps are taken as for any other current translation project. The file name is the same as the XLIF file is called, and I'm asked where do I want to store my project settings. I just choose the scope global and I save. And I have to indicate where my working folder is to be stored. And I click on OK. And as you can see, lots of language pairs come out of this XLIF file. Like this. As you can see, in that very single XLIF files, we have lots of individual files which Transit creates into individual language pairs. In an XLIF files, you can also have pre-translated segments like you have here. If the content management system where the XLIF file is created from, translation stored, put into an XLIF file already translated segments. And the language pair looks like is exactly the same as for any other translation package you might unpack. We have the numbering here, and we also have the statuses. Plus for pre-translated, and here our work would start the translation from Swedish into English. Use reference material with it. Sometimes even reference material is also stored in an XLIF file. If this is the case, Transit provides you with the fuzzy matches. And the translation is done here. And we want to deliver back an XLIF file. We just do the same as we would do with a PPX file. So we click on Pack Translation, pack the file, and automatically, since the project derived from an XLIF project, we can now XLIF back and of course with the translation. 19 files are packed. We can deliver back. That's it for today. Thank you for your interest in webinar.